Hello, everybody. This is Mike from Nymphs, Knots, and Nonsense. And today I am going to be showing you how to tie one of my favorite stillwater patterns. This fly is called the Simple Semi-Secret Bloodworm. And there's a story behind it. So I'm a member of a private club here in Massachusetts. We have a 3-acre pond. We pay a hatchery to stock it with some really big fish. And I've been using a variant of this bloodworm now. I used it all through fall and all through winter, and I caught a lot of fish on this. And I also like this fly because it's so simple to tie that I can crank out a ton of these things and not share them. So that's why it's the semi-secret bloodworm, is because I've been fishing a variant of this. I won't tell you what my variant looks like. This fly will catch fish. My variant catches just a little bit more. I did an A/B test. But also, you can't call it a super secret fly if you make a video about it and put it on the internet. So it's the semi-secret bloodworm. I actually had a guy who tried to rip my fly box out of my hand in order to view the full secret fly or the variation of this that I was using. This fly has a couple features that make it work really, really well in still waters, especially when you fish it under an indicator. And the secret to success here is that we've got some weight. So we add some wire, we use a heavy hook, we add a 2.4 millimeter bead to it. That gives it that heavy weight to get down quickly. It also uses the resin over the top of it, so it's about as close to a Euro nymph as you can get and still be a still water fly. Normally when I fish this fly, I'll put it on an indicator and I'll use one of the indicators that has a peg. So I will, also known in the UK as a bung. So I have a buzzer larva on a bung. And I will set the height of that peg to be 30 centimeters or 12 inches off the bottom. And especially on a day where you have some wind and some chop, that wind will blow and make waves, and it'll push that indicator up and down and make that larva, that bloodworm fly, wiggle just like the naturals do when they happen to get blown off of the mud or whatever case that they have that they build inside the mud. Sometimes the wind or the current will push them up off the bottom and they'll wiggle, 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 trying to get back down. The fish love that and they come in and just suck these up like they're candy. One of the reasons that I call this the simple semi-secret bloodworm is the supplies. So you use a couple types of hooks. Really, they're the same. It's a curved scud hook. Umpqua makes one, so this is the X series, XC300 BL, in that black barbless version, and Hanak has the same thing. They've got a 310 BL, and I usually use a size 10. Not a big deal, but I want that heavier hook and a curved hook. The other pieces that I use, thread. This is just 70 denier red thread. I will use a piece of red Brassie wire. There are alternatives. If you have copper, use copper. It works. There's another color out there called wine. Wine works really well. You could even use a black Brassie wire for this, and it'll still work. It all sort of comes out in the wash. Adds just a little bit of difference, but it isn't that noticeable. And the last big thing that I use is this. You can barely see it. It is a 3/32 of an inch or 2.4 millimeter black subdued. So it's not glossy, it's matte finished tungsten bead. So let's go tie this thing. I'm going to take a single hook. So in this case, I've got one of the Umpqua hooks. They're the same. And I'm going to take my bead and I'm going to start with the small side of the bead. And I think I got the wrong one, huh? Yeah, this is, wait, is that the small? Yep, that's the small side. Okay, so small side of the bead, or the small hole part of the bead, these are countersunk. So obviously there's a big side and a small side of the hole. But the small side of the hole, jam it up against the eye. Go ahead and mount it in my vise. Got to loosen this up just a little. Okay. And we're good, ready to start. Like I said, these things, I love them because they're a guide fly. You can crank out 24 of these things and give them to people. It's pretty easy that way. So we just start our thread, leave that hanging there, cut off the extra, or do the whole bang and twang it by giving it a tug. One of my secrets when I wrap Brassie wire is that I will take a pair of pliers and grab maybe 1/8 of an inch there and just basically crimp it. And you probably won't be able to see it on the video. Yeah, you can barely see it there. But it leaves a little bit of marks right here across the wire. And when I go to tie that wire in, it gets a better bite. And that way I can't pull it out, right? So if I pull on the wire here, I'm not pulling it out of the fly. So when you go to wrap it, it doesn't you don't have any accidents. It doesn't slip out the end of the fly. Okay, so I'm just going to hold this, add a little bit of positive pressure so that the wire stays along the spine or the back of the hook, and I'm just going to wind my thread a little bit down the end there, and then work my way back here. And I just want to cover up all of the silver that I added. You'll see it's nothing like really crazy here. I just want to coat down the hook with a layer of thread. When I get up here to the front, I'll have to add in a little bit extra in order to fill this gap that is right in here. So you see that little gap where it's not as thick. I just want to make it smooth. It doesn't need a tapered body or anything crazy like that. You just want to make it a little bit even. Okay, and it'll take a little bit of wraps of wire, thread, to get it looking smooth. And then I am done. So take this guy. Wow, slipped out of my vise. Take this guy, take it right up behind the bead, give it a half hitch, swing my dubbing or my bobbin cradle over, pick up my slack on my bobbin, and I'm going to get rotary with this. And what you want to do is, you'll see as I do this, I'm leaving a space. So normally when you wrap rib, you'll leave maybe 2 or 3 times the size of the wire. And in this case, I want to do a little bit more. I want maybe 4 or 5 times the size of the wire. So I make these really sort of loosey wraps. So that way it adds a little bit of texture and it'll leave gaps inside there. You can actually see it on camera. It starts to look like it has the segments that are on the bloodworms. Okay. Now I brought this up. I'm going to take my thread, wrap over the wire, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Give me just a couple more. 7, 8. Flip that back. Add a couple there. All right. And now just helicopter that wire off. Might take me a second. There we go. Okay. Helicopter that off. If there's a little stub that's left in there, Just grab it with your fingernail and smooth it down so it's against the body. And now I want to just wrap and cover up that edge that I just made. Wow. I need to fix my vise here. I loosened it up. I guess I loosened it up too much. Okay. Cool. Now, just throw in a half hitch there. Swing it around. Do my patented Mike Smith toolless whip finish. Tighten it up. Cut this off. And that's done with tying, right? That's why I call it the simple semi-secret. Now, last step that I have here is my UV fluorescent fly finish. And I'm going to add a drop. So I normally turn it sideways like this in order to apply this. So I will, and I can see in this red tube when it starts to come out. And I'm just going to do that, put a little bit more up here at the top, and then just take this, this little nozzle thing that I have, and just use it to sort of pull that resin a little bit more towards the head. Put a little bit extra in there. I put an air bubble, so I'm trying to work that out. There we go. Okay, and then just give it a little spin. That makes it all smooth. And then I'll go back over here, and I'm just using the tip of my finger to rotate this. And I'll keep rotating it as I add the UV. And you'll see that how it glows, right? So with that glow is what that fluorescent UV resin does when the sunlight hits it. So it makes it a lot more visible to the fish. And I'm just going to slowly rotate it. In fact, I was going too fast there. Now that it's starting to harden, I'll just go slow. It usually takes 20, 30 seconds. It doesn't take a long time. One of the tricks that I do is with my light on it, I'll actually take my finger, run it around the back. And if it's still wet, you'll see that I'll get some of that UV resin on my fingers. And I'll start to have a little bit of a glow on my fingers. In this case, I didn't pull any off, so this fly is done. Okay. And there you have it. That is the simple semi-secret bloodworm.